Welcome back in, everyone. It is Weather for Weather Geeks on Wednesday, November the 19th, 2025. As promised, a better day weather-wise today after kind of a gloomy, cold, damp day on Tuesday. We had some sunshine today, and afternoon temperatures responded nicely. In fact, it was a very typical November the 19th because our average high is about 48 at this time of the year, and that was the official number at the airport today. 48 locally, 46 was the high in Akron, Pittsburgh at 45, and Erie at 45. New Philly cracked the 50-degree mark on this Wednesday afternoon. When we look back over the last month or so, today was exactly seasonable, but we had a couple of chilly days, of course, to kick off the work week. Overall, though, over the last month, the cooler than average days have definitely outnumbered the warmer than average high temperatures going back to the middle of October. I'm expecting more colder than average high temperatures, certainly, as we head into the month of December. We'll talk about the longer range coming up later in the video. In the meantime, the weather is quiet locally this evening. Partly cloudy skies overhead for now. The clouds will win the battle as we head through the night. When we zoom out and take a look at the nation as a whole, there's not a lot going on. A couple of showers in the desert southwest, Arizona into New Mexico, so around El Paso, Albuquerque, even Phoenix getting a little bit of wet weather in the vicinity this evening. But other than that, not a lot of interesting weather from coast to coast. Of interest here locally this evening, it was our last 5 p.m. or later sunset until the day after Christmas. Starting tomorrow, taking us through Christmas Day, our sunsets will be in the 4 o'clock hour. So exactly 5 p.m. today. In week 456, and our earliest sunsets do occur between, say, about the 5th and the 10th or so of December. That's when our sunset bottoms out at 4:53 p.m. Now, that's officially in Youngstown. Depending on your exact location, there can be a minute or so difference from one location to the next in terms of both the sunrise and the sunset times. All right, just a ho-hum Thursday coming our way. Clouds are going to be around for a lot of the day. Low, mid-level clouds, stratus clouds, stratocumulus clouds. It'll be just kind of a gloomy-looking day, but unproductive clouds. No rain coming out of these clouds Thursday. And actually, we've removed any rain chances from the forecast for Thursday night and most of the daylight hours on Friday. What we have done is increase the chances we get a little bit wet towards the very end of the day Friday into parts of Friday night. And that's because this front's going to kind of hit the brakes as it comes east. This is a weak front, and it will kind of stall out. A little ripple of low pressure will form along it. And as it does so, let me back up our model animation here to, maybe late Friday evening. We can get grazed by a little bit of this wet weather, it looks like, probably mostly after sunset Friday evening, taking us up through maybe midnight, 1 a.m. Best chance to get wet probably in areas south of Route 224. I think certainly the I-70 corridor and points to the south have the best chance of getting some wet weather late Friday into Friday night. The timing of this is pretty good, though, for the weekend forecast. I think clouds will quickly break for some sun Saturday morning, leading to a mostly sunny afternoon Saturday. We'll do that again on Sunday. All right, let's talk about this pattern as we go into next week. First, we'll talk about what's going on above our heads at the jet stream level. The pattern is about to become much more amplified as we head towards Thanksgiving weekend. So we're on the mild side for the first half of the week. Maybe some rain for holiday travelers at times, Tuesday and maybe parts of Wednesday as well. But then after that, it's probably too cold for rain because this trough means business. This is rolling through the Great Lakes. It's going to park itself over the eastern U.S. Now, this is probably not a permanent pattern change that's going to last from now until February. I think we will start to warm up again after the holiday weekend, at least for a couple of days. But I think December as a whole, of course, is likely to be colder than the average. But nonetheless, this is a pretty potent trough with a pretty good punch of Canadian air coming our way. And so while there may not be necessarily, high temperatures below freezing during this initial cold punch, we may have a day or two where we're pretty close to freezing for daytime highs. Overnight lows are probably going to get down into the 20s, perhaps even teens if the sky clears out for a time. The question for a lot of people will be, will there be any snow? And that is important for holiday travelers. There's been conflicting signals on the modeling as far as the potential of a quote-unquote snowstorm, a bona fide area of low pressure. At the very least, I think there's a pretty good chance of some lake effect somewhere around the region. Now, it's way too early to talk about, the wind trajectory off the lakes. Will this lake effect more favor, say, Erie, PA, as opposed to Northeast Ohio? Maybe this is mostly aimed at Buffalo. Way too early to speculate too much on that. But water temperatures, while they have cooled back to about average after spending all summer and all fall with above average readings on Lake Erie, the average temperature on Lake Erie is right around climatology for this time of the year. So off of the coast of Cleveland, it's about 50. The western end, the more shallow end of Lake Erie, the water temperature has cooled down into the 40s, but there's still going to be a sufficient difference between these water temperatures and the air temperatures blowing that cold air blowing over these Great Lakes in about 8 or 9 or 10 days, that I think there probably will be some lake effect snow concerns during the course of the Thanksgiving weekend. So stay tuned on that. And this is a key part of my winter forecast last week, that December is going to be a colder than average month. I think there's probably going to be a little back and forth during the first week or so of December, but the cold's going to win more and more battles in December. All of this relative to average, of course. December is usually a cold month. It's one of our coldest months of the year. But compared to the average, this December might be our coldest in at least 8 years. It's been since probably at least 2017 since we've had a December that might be kind of similar to the one we have coming up. So, as I talked about last evening on Weather for Weather Geeks and in my winter forecast last week, everything's kind of lining up in the world's oceans, and also what's going on in the stratosphere, a weakening of the polar vortex up over the northern latitudes of the northern hemisphere. All signs point to the cold winning the battle in the month of December, and it could come with plentiful snow chances in the run-up to Christmas as well. So this is going to be the place to be for the latest short and long-range weather analysis as we transition into meteorological winter. Hard to believe that transition officially takes place in 12 days on December the 1st. In the meantime, thanks for watching on this Wednesday evening. Have a great rest of your night. Let's do this once again on Thursday.